Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Inside Fashion Design, this week's community conversation. I'm honored and excited to welcome again Daniela Kane, who's multi-talented woman working in the design space for many years. And she has founded and built a product management system, which today she is going to share with us. It's a great platform, and I'm sure she'll go into more details of all the great benefits and how it works. But it's a very good tool for solopreneurs, a startup, a mid-sized company, and beyond. Very affordable, easy to learn, easy to use, streamlined, and you can work with all your makers around the globe through this platform. So I'm excited to see how it all works in action. I have used it a little bit myself in past design work and familiar with it, and we wanted to share it with you. And I'll mention too that through Inside Fashion Design, if you create a profile on our community platform, which is totally free, Daniela is offering a discount for the service as well. So with all of that said, I'll pass it to Daniela and you can walk us through the whole platform and how it works.
Yeah, well, before we do this, I would love to just talk a little bit how I came. Hello, Noor.
Hello, welcome.
How it all started out. It started actually in the early 2000s when I was working at Adidas. I was one of the super users working in the design department to help assess and feed and inform the product data management platform that the company wanted to implement in the company. And we spent a year and a half feeding all the information and giving all the lowdown of what we needed out of the platform, what would help us, what would be useful. And it was from all the functions, from design to development to product management. All of the functions were feeding information. And I hope you don't hear background noise. I have some construction going on. Okay, good.
Can't tell.
We were feeding all this information in, and then the rollout came, and we were very excited to hear and see like what was done with all the great information that we gave. And it was like a what
Oh, no.
is this?
Oh,
It made no sense. It was cumbersome, and I think it was never really implemented. I left the company then, and went to another. Came to the States. Worked for Nike, worked for Columbia Sportswear, and because I had been in this super user implementation group, I was always interested in how companies what are they utilizing, what tools do they use to help facilitate the projects, product management, project management, and Columbia's was really good. I thought it was really smart. It was fairly easy to learn. And I left then and was partner of a design and sourcing agency here in Portland. And we were a startup. We were working on multiple projects at the same time, multiple timelines. And we hired developers and tech designers to help us manage the projects for our clients. And the only tool that was available to us at that time was Excel. So this was before Google Docs actually took place or took root. Which is Google Sheets is great, right? Because multiple people can work on the same sheet without overwriting it. However, back in the day, when you were working with individual sheets, you had to just check in with the other developer or with the pattern maker to make sure that if they went into the file, that the other person was out of the file and that it had been saved, or otherwise you would risk overwriting it. But here's the thing, it's Excel sheets. It is not made for product development. And it was very, very cumbersome. Everything had to be updated like individually. If there was a material change or a button change, the developer had to go into every single sheet, like knowing where that component, where that fabric had been used, if it's across a collection, and ensure that the fabric, like copy paste that information was copied and pasted into all of the areas where it was necessary. And who's ever worked with Pantone standards, the 6-digit number codes, where it is so easy that you can, just what's it called? Transpose, transpose a number. And
what if you forget on one page, then you've got a trim that's completely the wrong
off, or thing. yes, right. And so at one point, what happened? Like something like that happened, and the expected delivery was a bra in a fuchsia pink, and it came in a taupe.
Oh no.
So stuff like that can happen. And truly, I mean, for some companies, a transposed number will break them.
Canceled orders.
It will, of course, canceled orders. They have a ton of inventory. It is a very costly mistake, and it can be detrimental. And so, and I saw the people who were working in these Excel sheets, and we had these weekly meetings, and like my head was spinning, and I didn't even know how they were keeping it all straight. And I thought there has to be a better solution. I mean, back in the day, it was 2016, I think, when I started. 2015, 2016. And I said, there has to be a better solution out there. Like, it's not 20 years ago. What is out there? And the truth is that there was one solution out there which was affordable, but would mean that everybody in the organization would have to completely retrain themselves on how to use it, because it was with cards, like component cards, and putting that together versus like these Excel sheets, which most PDM or PLM software is based off of. And so that was that way. Either it's this path, or you have to, or there is no information about cost. You have to go into a sales meeting, and then you have to sit there and get all the information and then decide whether it's too expensive or not. So I kind of like the idea of something that's really accessible, that you can get, that's affordable for small and even medium-sized companies. And that's really helpful. And so I went out and said, is there somebody here in Oregon, in Portland, that I can work with doing that? And I used to work out of an incubator on North Broadway. And he happened to be a very, very, and still is a very brilliant software architect and engineer. And what I didn't know is that he had done systems like that before. He had worked for Northrop Grumman, who, I mean, this is rocket science. These are people who are sending satellites out into space. So he worked for Northrop Grumman, and he worked for Toyota companies. And he was very interested because Toyota has like a fabric, a fabric offshoot. And he's like, oh, Toyota, is that this is the company that I used to work for in the automotive industry when they were transitioning into a PLM kind of model. So he used all of this information that he had to build this platform. So the information that he had from the aerospace industry, the information that he had from Toyota, from the car industry, and he told me what the problem actually was with the rollout of the Adidas experience that I had. Because he said, the aerospace industry, they started this out. They created these programs. And then there is just a very, their target group is very small, it's kind of limited. So they're looking at what kind of other industries could use a system that we have created, and we just refashion it. Okay, so then they went into car industry, and then they went like, like in any kind of product industries that are creating product, exactly. And he said, so the problem though is that how long does it take for the product create or development for aerospace, for a satellite? I don't know, 10 years, 15
years,
years and years. So for cars, it's couple years, 3, like it's definitely a few years. And now we're taking this model and we're squeezing the apparel industry that is very agile, that goes, when you look at like the extreme of fast fashion, where every 15 days there's something new being churned out. I don't advocate for that at all. But that's going to the other extreme, where you have to be very agile and where you have to be able to respond to trends. Then those systems are, they're difficult. They are clunky. They aren't agile. They aren't responsive. And so which made total sense. Like all of that made so much sense for me. And I thought also very smart for those, for the organizations who were able to sell their product to all these different industries. So that's what we built that from. So it was very important for me that it was an intuitive, that is built around how developers, and I'm just going to say it won't help you design. I think AI probably gets closer to that, but what it will help you, and where it's laser focused in on, it will help you develop and streamline the communication, if and only for those people who are working with a manufacturer, who are working with a factory, who will have partners that they work with that are not in-house. If you create everything in-house and it is custom made, one of a kind items, it will not be useful for you. But if you produce even as little as 10 or 15, 25, hundreds, thousands, then it will be very, very helpful for you. So in short, what I could say before I'll show you how it works, if you know Dropbox, and if you use Dropbox, imagine it is Dropbox with all your product data, and it includes a database that everything is connected to. So it's not just random files like on a Google Drive, but it's smartly linked files that are connected to a database. They're actually connected to two databases. So if you, so the database, the core of the product is the materials database. So you are putting all of the material information, whether it is about fabrics, you can capture cost in there, you can capture yardage, composition, finishes, washes, how much you have to order for sampling or prototyping, how much is your minimum order quantity for production, lead times. You can capture all of this test results. You can capture it within here. Buttons, trims, all of that you capture there. And then it feeds into every single bill of material. And when there is an update on the material, it will automatically update every bill of material in your workspace that is connected to that particular material.
Beautiful. Yeah.
So that is the number one benefit, right? That you have that. And then the second one is there is a block component where you have, it's kind of the library where you can create blocks. For those of you who don't know what blocks is, it's just a very simplified, stripped down to the bare bones pattern, basic pattern. And so you can create a spec sheet, a measurement sheet block based on that bare bones pattern. So you can have your basic t-shirt, you have your basic v-neck t-shirt, you have your button-down shirt, you have your dress, you have your shift dress. So whatever it is, you can have those measurements stored. It's almost like a library, and you can check out that block and pull it automatically into your style. So now I am ready to share my screen with you. Sorry, it took a while, but I hope
it sounds amazing. And I wish I had this years ago, because I was working like you back then with
yeah.
Excel docs and numbers, trying to fill in all the little specs and everything.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go into one of our clients. Oops. Workspaces. You can see how, I mean, it has been on the market for 7 years, and you can see this is an agency. They are working with different brands, and so each brand has their own section. And then below the brand logo, you can see all of the different seasons that they are developing product, and you can see how many products are being developed, right? So you can see that here, it can house a huge amount of product developments here. For safety and, I'm going to my own brand and my own space. And so here is my, okay, let's start here. So here is my brand, and here are the seasons or the developments under which development site work with factories. The core here, what I told you earlier, is in the manage section. In the manage section here, materials is that database that I was talking about. So this is your core, this is the heart. In that database, you capture everything, like all of the raw materials. You capture anything that is printed, it's here, it's divided by fabrics, trims. You can capture your logo and labeling, and you can capture your packaging, right? So you have all of the components in here. You can also toggle through here, and you can have a search function and just find your product through the search function. You can add artwork in here. You have the vendor information, you have the description. If I went in here, you can see this is where you add in all of the information that you have or that is necessary for you, right? So that captures that. Here, down here at the bottom, for pricing information, if you enter in pricing information, and if you have captured, and I am not that diligent myself, but if you capture all the cost and price information in here, what the tech pack will also yield you is a raw cost of the entire garment. So then you have the materials, and then here these measurement. So we have two measurement types. We have the measurement codes, which is the database for, and your platform comes pre-loaded with a few of those measurements, measurement codes that you can start out with, but this is fully adjustable. These codes or the coding system is based off of industry standards like a Nike and Adidas
Kind of
are using.
a
Yeah,
universal.
it's sort of, yeah, but it's completely customizable for you too. But what you can see here is like you have a little icon here that shows how to measure. That's also very helpful for your factory to just clarify what you actually want measured, right? So here, this is the information here. And if you go in here, you can see, if you click on one of them, you can see you can upload your own files, you can upload your own PNGs here, and you can even set a grade rule here for each point of measure as well, and that will be then automatically pulled into your tech pack.
Wow.
I'm wondering, so far, are there any questions?
Yeah, feel free to put something in the chat if you have a question or speak up. That's
Okay, so I'll continue here. So measurement blocks, this is what so measurement codes is a list or a library of all your individual point of measures. Then measurement blocks is where you can create a block for a skirt or for a pant or for a button-down shirt, right? Or, whatever it is that you're doing, a track jacket or track pants. And if you click on that, you can then create a full-on set of individual point of measures that define your block. And here you can set whatever your base size is. Sometimes it's small, for some companies it's small, for some companies it's medium, and that is individually, you can set that whatever works for your brand and for your company. So the way that you enter those, you basically just go in here, and add your measurement. And then it pulls in the information, all the information that is in your point of measurement data, that it's like that sheet that I showed you earlier. I'm gonna just cancel.
So Danielle,
Okay.
I have a question about, so the pattern, if you're working with, say, Optitex or a Browseware or something like that, and you have a digital file, maybe you have your sample size of the first pattern. So you can upload that into here as well, and then it kind of feeds off of the layout and the measurements in that, or
you cannot like store it in here in this particular sheet, but you can add it to your style, to the particular style as a file.
Gotcha. Great. Thank you.
And then here you can bring in users, very easy. You just add a user like this. It's that easy. And then here, the collections. Collections is really this is where you're setting your color, your color palette. And here is where you can add seasons or full-on collections, right? So if I created a collection and I'm gonna call sorry here, and I'm not what can I find? Okay, I'm just gonna take this. Let's see if it saves. So here I have another season here, or another collection. So for some people, this might be tops and bottoms. For other people, it might be accessories or bedding and, tops, bottoms, running, cycling, you can, whatever works for you. And then you can add a season here, 24. And then you can add a color palette. And here, the color palette, how we've chosen it here, is up to 3 colors that you can nominate. If you had a black or a white, let's see, it was 0 here,
So this is where
11.
your Pantone color
Yeah,
comes in.
here, yes, exactly here. So it comes preloaded with all of the Pantone. You know, if they are like very latest, you can work with us and we can load them in for you. But there is like 7,000 Pantone colors in here. And then you have the ability to give it whatever name you want, whether you want to stick with a Pantone standard or whether you can, or if you want to give it its own name, that is fine. If you have a 2-colored print, let's say, you can nominate, you can say pink taupe print. So it's very, very adjustable, or right. So, yeah. And so there, yeah. What I mean with that, it's very flexible, right? You're not locked in at any step. You're not locked in. If you have something, we have a couple of things where it says clear. So if you have a clear elastic that needs to go in, and we have something like black and white, because oftentimes well, the black, you can, yeah, you can give it a not applicable, right? If you have just a standard black and it doesn't have a Pantone color. We also have YKK colors in here, which also sometimes is good, right? If you have a color, if you have a color, if you don't want to have a color discrepancy on your final product, and it's nice to have just a color indicator to know whether you're doing something correctly or not. So you can see now I have like these 2 brands in here. So now we spoke about the material database, the database or library of point of measure, and we have the block components, right? So this is some pre-work, this is something to set up. But once you have that set up, then you can create a product. I'm just going to go into this guy here. So this is the layout and how a product style is set up. You have up here, you have a couple of options and functions that you can do. You can duplicate a style. So for example, if you were a cycling company and you're just on a yearly basis, you're changing the print of the jersey, you can easily clone that style and just upload a new print, and then that style is captured. Or for example, you have a men's sweatpants and you want to bring in a new pattern, you want to do it for women's, but you want all of the components and everything the same. You can copy the style and then you can exchange, and then you can tweak your measurements in order to fit the women's measurements. Freeze is a way to make a garment, to like hold off on a garment. It's not deleted, it's just on hold, it's on ice, and you can unfreeze it. So when you're ready to continue working with it, you can unfreeze it. So this is what it looks like, right? So now it's frozen. No, everybody knows it won't be, well, or dropped even, right? So it will give like this the sign that it's dropped, and you can unfreeze it, and then it's totally functional again. Of course, you can delete it as well. It will ask you if you're actually really sure you want to delete it, because then it's gone. So best option is always just to freeze it and keep it on ice.
Yeah.
This top part here, I'm calling it the header. For anybody who is in design and has tons of revisions and is so sick and tired of always adding the date of when it was last changed. Anybody who hates
Very
that?
common. Yep.
Very common. You won't have to do any of this. The date is captured automatically. There are several things that are happening up in the header. Of course, the number, the name. You can revision, you can have set a revision flag here. So meaning whether it is a carryover or whether it's dropped. So for everyone, it's very clear from the outset of, what status that product is in. Here we have different size ranges, right? That it's already preloaded. If your size ranges, is outside of that, it's an easy thing that we can adjust for you. But you can hear, you can.
So if we were doing bras, for example, and you had cup sizes, say, then we would work with you to add in those.
You can add that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so what it does is, you will see here is that when you have your size explosion, when it goes from extra small to medium to large. So for cup size, it would be A, A, B, C,
Gotcha.
instead of extra small, medium. So that's how you can. Great. This is what drives this, and this is why this is important. Then you're setting the base size. So depending, like if we did your cup sizes, then you would have all of these cup sizes available here to choose which one is your base size that you're developing.
Great.
Then here we're global, right? That's the approach, either inches or centimeters, you can choose. You can put in a retail price if you'd like or not. Oftentimes companies like to not show that. You can add in a copyright note, and then here is the colorways. So right now it is limited to 10 colorways. And this is for the color header. How are you calling out your color, right? So this is how I call them out. And then, so this is the cool thing here, the sketch. So, okay, so we've done this part here. Here underneath, you have the ability to print the tech pack, and it will print it out. I don't know. I think I need to share here. This just pulled up, right? So I have some patterns in here. So there's links to those pattern files that are stored. And you can see last modified, when it was last modified, right? And has the images in here and goes into the bill of materials. I'll go back to here.
That's so great. Love it.
You can also generate Excels. You can either only pull the bill of materials or only pull the measurement table, or you can pull both. So then it would just download an Excel. So nothing is captured and blocked. You can pull all the information down. It's always accessible to you. Here is workflow. And then you can assign, the way that I do it, I give everyone access to everything. But here is the ability to assign specific people, users to the files if you want to be selective of who gets access within your organization to what. So you can do that here.
And a question on the
Mhm.
user. So as far as the factory and the
Mhm.
maker, they can all log in whenever and see the latest, greatest, and you obviously like invite them to have access
Yes.
somehow. And
Yeah. I'll show you in a minute. Yes. So that was really, really important that it's, of course, because it's a visual development communication tool to help just streamline the emails and the email communication and make it very clear, where changes have been made, so that there's not so much back and forth. And so, yes, so the factory, their access, I'll show you that, looks a little different than what people within a brand have access to, just because you just want to give them access to particular styles because you don't want to overwhelm them with the entire range of what it looks like. You just give them access to the 2 or 3 styles that they're working with, and that's all they see. Okay, this here where it says sketches, this one is one, I mean, I'm really proud of the entire thing. However, if there is one thing that is super unique, this is another super unique feature, is this. It is, it's an Illustrator drag and drop. What I mean by that is you don't have to screenshot, you don't have to export your sketches individually. You just have your Illustrator document, which has maybe multiple pages with a summary page, a front view, a back view, a side view, any detail sketches to communicate specific workmanship. It may all live in one document and it's multiple pages, and you can just drag and drop that thing in here. Let me go into this one here. Okay. This one has something missing. Okay, let me just clone this. Okay, so I'll show you. I'm showing you how you can make a tech pack in a very short amount of time. I want to go into Core FA Plus. I'm going into spring 27. I'm going to start at the development, and I'm cloning this dress. So this dress has now been cloned into this document, but I want to update information that goes in here. So now you probably, maybe I'll show you my entire screen so you can see how this really works. Okay, so you see here, I have the Illustrator, it's an AI document, and it has multiple pages. And I'm just going to drag and drop that in here. And when it says converting, you can already work on something else, right? So you can, because it takes a little, it's processing the images already. There you go. So it just processed the images. It took that much to pull in your Illustrator file and put it into these different pages. And here you can see, yeah, isn't it? So this was, artwork, embroidery art that was just like pulled from the pattern. So the pattern maker made that, actually, like, she mocked that up in the pattern. I had a little bit of a sketch in here, and so I just added that, and I wanted to have that in here. So that's how quick and easy that is, like super helpful. Then on top of that, we have here the additional files. So this comes back to your question, Britta, is where do I store my pattern files? So this is where you can add any additional file, anything. Whether it's an Excel file, whether it is a sketch, whether it is a photograph, you can add it here. And it's really easy. I mean, you just give it a name, choose a file, forget about the thumbnail. It actually works without it too. And then it will show up in here. And then we have the bill of material, and you can see, so what's really cool here is that it's again like laid out in fabrics, logo, label, and then packaging. Is that it's visual, right? So without you going or digging deep into an Excel file, you have your Excel file in here. Oops, sorry about that. And you can see, like, when a designer or a product manager goes into this, if you work in a tripod with, where a developer, a tech designer, the designer, and a merchandiser, they work with this, they can go in here, and if there's a mistake, you'll see it. You can just browse through that and you can see that there might be something that's not quite right. Oh, it might be the wrong label. Yeah. So in order to change anything in the bill of material, you click on the pink bill of material, and then you have your bill of material here. So whatever, like, you click in here, and I'm here, like, yeah, Blue Lotus denim. I'm just gonna put that in here as a fabric, but you can see immediately it gave you who's the vendor, what's the description. You can say this is main body, sleeves, pocket bags. So you can add that information here. Yeah.
So Daniela,
And yeah.
There's a library of materials and trims, and then you can pull that. Will that populate across multiple styles that I could still do a drop down? Say I put it in one style, but I want to use it next year in a new style. Does it still exists in some library, so you can just pull it?
It's like, exactly.
Yeah.
It's kind of like you subscribe to it, and whenever an update is, it'll be pushed straight into your bill of material.
That's great.
The cool thing also is that if there's this little I sign, if you work in, there's like a cancel, like, okay, I'm going to cancel that because I don't want to keep that in here. But it goes straight into the material.
Okay.
So you have a link here. So for a lot of solopreneurs, right, we work like simultaneously on multiple things. It's like, oh, there was an update, and I'm going to go in here and I'm going to say approved, right? And then you hit save, and then you go back.
Yeah.
And you are back in your bill of material. You can also have multiple tabs open and work on that, and there's no fear of like overwriting anything. So so one thing here. Okay. I wanted to show you how to do color. You have to go, sorry about this, you have to go back in here because we made this style new. God, I think we had some awful colors, right? Pink and tan. And when you then go into your bill of material, you can see here the color column.
Okay.
Has been added in. Okay. I don't know. Just making things up. It doesn't make any sense right now. Right. So, but what you can see is you only have, you can limit from the 7,000 or 8,000 colors that are available globally and have a code. when you set your palette, it just offers you the selected colors. And so it reduces dramatically the amount of errors that can occur.
That's great. And you're not scrolling through thousands of numbers looking for the one you need.
Exactly. So it's very, very easy, right? And yes, yeah, you can see here. And then, you know, like you have the visual. So without, you know, in the style section, you even have the color visual right there. So
That's
again,
nice,
something
such a nice
where
feature, and you know, it's so obvious if it's incorrect.
Yes.
You'll be able to catch it easily.
Yes, yes. So there's even, I'm not going to go into that today, but there's even a function where you can initiate lab dibs, where you, once they are approved, and then it would have like a green, once they are approved, then they have a little green bar in here. Okay, and then you have the block or the style review down here. Style review is basically your measurement table. It's basically your measurement table. Right now, you will only see base size M because we started at the development stage. If you want to load in, if you want to load in a new measurement or pull from your block, it will give you this message here. Are you sure that you want to add in a block? Because we have measurements in here that will be overridden. And I can say, okay, remove them all. And now I want, none of this makes sense, right? But if I had another dress block and I load them, but here are all the measurements of the block that I have created in my library. If I make any changes here to the style, it won't affect the block though. So that's just something to note.
Is like a permanent base.
Yes, exactly. And then you can go in here and, you know, capture the sample submit, what the measurements of the sample submit were. And then you can, based on that, you can, in the fitting, you can set the new measurement here. You can comment on the individual point of measure with the factory. And whenever you make a change in the measurements, for the factory, the way that they will see it, it is all highlighted. So the whole area would be highlighted and they know that there has been a change. So, and they have a button where they say accept the changes, so that, or acknowledge the changes. So that's what's happening here too.
That would normally all be emailing back and forth.
Yes. Yeah. Many of them. So yeah.
Fantastic.
Or you have to put it all into an email again. And yes, it's nice to have a quick summary. Okay, a couple other things. Here is the workflow feature where you can see what garments are fit approved and what is in development. So this is a quick snapshot of things, you know, like where in the process is each item. You can go in here and see exactly. No, it doesn't show here. And you can also just pop back into the style. So multiple ways to access your style. Let's see here. Yeah. That is one thing. You can also, you can get more information here. There are some reporting features. If you work with a lot of products, and you just want to see, okay, in spring 2023, what are the fabrics, what have I used, and you can filter that. You can filter material type, fabrics.
That's really nice
Search.
for carryovers,
Yes.
you know, if you want the same button from 3 seasons
Mm-hmm.
ago.
Yes. And so you can then get a list of the fabrics, the base fabrics that you've used, or trims. You know, you can do the same thing for trims. And so you have a feature for that. This is what I just touched on. Same thing for lab dips. You can manage your lab dips out of here. You can do a minimum order quantity results, MOQ queries from here. Okay, last one that I'm gonna say about factories. Okay, here the factories, you can assign a factory certain styles. If I'm just going to say I'm only going to give them these styles, and then you save that. It's like what I've done here. So he has access to all of that, but I can also unclick those silhouettes and he will not see the things that are unclicked. So it's a very simple way. Even if you have a large collection of multiple pieces and you work with 2 or 3 factories or ateliers, and you just want them to focus on 1 or 2, you can do that too. And when they sign in, oh, 1 second, my daughter is coming home and I need to open her.
Let her in. Does anyone have any questions?
Yeah, so I missed the first like 4 minutes. I'm so sorry. But did you already say if this is like a program that's finished and ready to be
Oh, yes.
purchased for use?
Yes,
Awesome.
it's existed for 7 years already. So there's
Okay.
already factories all over the world that are using this.
Very cool.
Yeah, and I don't know if you were there when Daniela showed a page.
I was watching, yeah.
Yeah, she
Mhm.
showed a page of all the brands. Those are
Mhm.
brands that she actually worked with
Oh, okay.
previously. So you could see a lot of existing makers and brands that are already using this. So
Mhm.
Very
good
impressive.
question. Yeah, it's not brand new. It's been tried, true, and tested and proven throughout, you know, and I know
Yes.
Daniela, you make a lot of your coryphée out of India and they're
Mhm.
using it. So it's
Yeah.
definitely proven. And we just have a few minutes left.
Mhm.
And I wanted to mention, Daniela, I know when you go to end, like when you first say you sign up and you're just learning, there's tutorials
Mhm.
within the program too, right? So there's people can, I don't want people to be scared that they're, oh, I can't remember all this, or I'm not going to figure out how to do all this. There's tutorials
Yeah.
that walk you through each step, and you're
Mhm.
accessible as well for questions, or if like they had to add in colors like you mentioned, or add in something that didn't exist, bra cup sizes say, and
Yeah.
so
What I have is what I have to help is it's an online classroom and that's free where people can go through the curriculum and with videos, and you can see each step and how to set something up. And the cool thing is, though, is when you get your workspace, it comes loaded with a couple of items already. So you have a couple of fabrics in there. You've got I think you have some point of measures in there, and you have a simple style in there, so that you can really just play also. So it's not coming completely empty. So when I recorded the videos, the platform you came, it was empty. There was nothing there. So that felt kind of like this big black hole. But what it happens, it's preloaded. You have some examples in here that you can build on. And so you have the training, you have the blueprint, you it comes preloaded with something to build off of. And yes, I'm here, and there's people also that if you want to go deeper, that I can refer you to, that would be working with you. That would be like outside of like my work. You could work with some people who really have worked with this for 7 years. That's what I just saw that. Like I looked it up on
Like, wow.
yeah, on LinkedIn. So it's been going strong for 7 years.
Yeah. And I know, yeah, your support staff is so great. And it's so affordable. I feel like, you know, if you're a solopreneur and you are working with makers, I keep thinking of one of the designers we featured not too long ago who has 3 styles. She only does 3 styles, but it's out of Peru,
Mm-hmm.
you know, so I don't know how she communicated and passed them tech packs and all that, but
Mm-hmm.
it's for even a brand that small, just to be able
Mm-hmm.
to streamline and have everything stored in that
Mm-hmm.
library, you know, and she's going to do a lot of carryovers. So it's just repeat,
Mm-hmm.
repeat, repeat. She doesn't have to, you know, if it's a new maker, she doesn't have to start over and get
Mm-hmm.
paperwork and emailing and all that. So it just feels like it's such a great tool and very accessible for anyone to use.
Yeah, it's accessible. It is intuitive to learn. It's yeah, it's actually kind of fun. It's very transparent. It's easy to share and collaborate with. Nothing overrides.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think if you've been in the industry more than a few years, you've probably experienced some of those nightmares that have happened with wrong color or
Yes.
measurements being missed or something.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So for Inside Fashion Design Connect members, we're offering, you had so generously offered a discount. And
Mm-hmm.
how should people go about connecting through us, through you, shooting you a note, mentioning IFD, or was the best route?
Yeah. So so let me. So the what it costs right now, it is if you are like a solopreneur, if you work with 2 people inside your company. So if you work with a pattern maker or with somebody in sourcing and yourself, it comes with 2 like seats for internal and unlimited factory access. So you can give access to people outside of that for viewing rights, and you can give them some writing rights as well. And it is normally $99 a month. If you want to add, if you have more people internally who are working internally, then each seat is $49 in addition per seat, per user. And for IFD, we are doing 10% off. So that is, it's like 89
Yeah,
for
probably
a lifetime.
$10.
Yeah, for a lifetime. Yes, for a lifetime. So best thing, reach out either to Britta or me, and then we're gonna get you set up. So there's still a little bit of a setup. It's not quite automated like you see it for Twitter, or like we're not as big as that, or Facebook where it just churns and then there you go. So just that as a caveat. So there is actually a person who pushes some buttons and sets you up and just has some communication with you. What do you need? What are your base sizes? And yes, you'll have somebody if there's colors missing or codes missing. Yeah, well, we'll help you. Mm-hmm.
You won't be left alone on an island to figure it out.
No.
Well, I am personally so excited to start using it again, because I had used it a few years back with some client work, and then different clients and different projects have come along, and now I can't wait to get back. And
so one thing I have to say, like for people who see this and who work with small brands and clients, and who are service providers, whether you're a developer or a designer, for the brands to give them their IP like that it sits and is housed in their platform so that they are not tied. You might not want to be tied to a client forever anyway, right? So it might be it might be a benefit to say, hey, client, what do you think? I'm working with this thing, with this platform, and if you are interested in having your own, then you own your IP, and your IP is in your hands. And whether you work with me or whether you work with someone else in the future, you own it. You don't have to ask me for all of these documents, which probably, you know, by that time you are sick, you know, as a service provider at the end of a client agreement, and to finding all of these documents and sending that out, and it's just a drag.
That's such a good point. Yeah. And I've been in that situation many times where it's like pulling teeth trying to get a BOM or a grade that they used.
Mm-hmm.
So that's such a great point.
Mm-hmm.
Very excited about it. And thank you for the great demonstration. It's got so many capabilities that just are fabulous to have. I'm just thinking back to all the color coding and all those things that I, as a designer, had to work with in Excel sheets and whatnot. So please reach out to either Daniela or myself. You can find all the information on our websites, or just, email a note and mention that you saw this, and we'll get you going and help set up and provide the support to implement the program. So thank you, Daniela, and everyone.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
All right.
Have a good one.
Bye.